Hi, I'm John Weil, the Vice President and General Manager of Synaptics processor business.
And so, what are you working on?
I spend most of my time thinking about ways to build next generation AI processors for the intelligent edge. So we build microcontrollers like we announced this week. We build Linux and Android processors, all with a focus on the right price and performance, power for the intelligent edge.
John, can we talk a little bit about the software aspects that we're bringing to this as well, like the open source approach?
Yeah, so at Synaptics, we believe in making sure customers are not locked in. I mean, I think my personal preference is to give customers tools that they can use to build intelligent devices without feeling like they invest in one scenario and then a year later that investment's wasted. I want my mutual customers to feel like there's an investment in the time they put in. They get access to open tools. Makes it easier for them to work with a partner or do it themselves. We don't necessarily steer our customers one way or the other. We want the software to be easy to use in both cases.
So we did a workshop this morning. We had 45 people in a room training them effectively on our SL series.
Yep.
The SR series is just announced. Really, this is about enabling people to get up very, very quickly to be able to prototype solutions. Is that right?
Yeah, so if you, the customers here at the show or post-show, if you interview a lot of people, which I've done over the last year, almost all the customers I've talked to have AI on their roadmap. It's not their fault. Sometimes they just don't know what it is yet. They don't know exactly what that use case that you and I as consumers or an industrial application, what's going to be the winning one. And so what's really important is being able to go through that ideation phase really fast. So we've put a bunch of open source tools in place that allows customers to take things that they see, like a model for vision that might be open source or a model for audio, and glue those models together in a way to get to a POC faster than anyone else in the business. And then, of course, the next step is productizing that. And that takes a little longer, and it takes work by all. But we want to educate and be that vendor that gives you that hook, that initial POC that allow you to go to management and do something I've always called the hero effect. How does that engineer become a hero? And with the Astra tools, it's very easy.
So, I mean, certainly I see a lot of people wanting to get in AI, not necessarily knowing how to do it or how to take those next steps.
Right.
So we've put together a dev zone. That dev zone also helps guide people through this process. So maybe we could introduce that to the audience as well.
Yeah, so the Synaptics Astra platform has really good content on developer.synaptics.com. That's our developer zone. There's blogs, educational material there, documentation on our open source tools. There's now, as of today, workshop content. So if you buy an Astra Machina SL1680 from any of our worldwide distributors, you can also go and glue together multiple models, multiple modalities with the content on the developer site as of today.
And when you in your work, how much is software and how much is designing the future of chipsets?
I always say the chip is only a box of sand without the software. So we spend a significant amount of time building next generation chips. There's no two ways about it. Our processor technology today is already very advanced. We're always looking at what's that next step. But we have almost an equal size, or if not bigger, software team working in the community, driving innovation and open source tools. And then we work with partners as well, some of the biggest open source partners in the world, on what's the next AI algorithm going to be, what are some of the tools that a customer is going to need to make it easy to digest that next application.
And there's so many different kinds of AIs, right? It could be like a little vision thing or a sensor thing, or it could be language model. And you have a strategy how to enable all this?
It's the 80-20 rule that we all live by in engineering for so long. It's helping our customers get to that 80% really, really fast. And we are leveraging all of the ones you referred to. So there's basic language model capability, semantic search capability, there's audio and speech, and putting those together allow you to create use cases that were not easy to do a few years ago, but now you can add human-machine interface to a product that never had human-machine interface and work in a very natural speech kind of way. I always joke with people, we all have the personal assistant devices from some of the very large consumer electronic companies that have frustrated us over the years. And those systems had massive cloud computers behind the scenes trying to have a conversation with you. We can have that natural conversation today with very low-end Linux processors, fully GDPR compliant, no cloud connection. You can slur your speech, you can use slang, and it figures it out. And you can do that now on very inexpensive products.
How was the impressions people had in that work group you had?
I think people took it really, really well this morning. We ran through a session, we had 45 people in the room, it was actually oversubscribed, but we took people on a journey, and that journey was enable people to be able to do speech recognition, enable people to be able to do vision recognition. So, you've probably seen these stickman kind of approaches, which is determining how your body's moving, body pose estimation. All of these different models we showed running on this tiny little device, which is part of our Astra portfolio this morning. So it's us kind of being this processor Sherpa, helping to guide people along this journey when they're trying to build new products, integrating AI.
And so the SR series is launching here at the Embedded World. What was the strategy while you developed this series? Like just software, but also the chipset design, making it AI native, right?
Yeah. So with our SR series, the analogy I used earlier today is how do you bring contextual awareness into a very low power, low cost envelope, right? That price, power, performance. With the SR family, we're able to bring a level of always on contextual awareness while still preserving that kind of higher performance aspect. So the analogy I used was, if I look out the corner of my eye, a human being can tell that there's another human being. That's our always on peripheral vision. We're looking, I can tell that there's colleagues of mine off to the side, right? Once I know there's somebody there I'm interested in, what does a human do? Our gaze moves, we study that object a little more. I now know there's a man standing there or a woman standing there. My gaze moves a little more, I now know who that person is. So with the SR family, we do exactly that. We call it gear stepping. So we have an always on domain that is looking at imagery, audio, whatever the modalities are, and is monitoring that to look for is there something of interest that has changed, and it does that at an extremely low power. And then it can step into the next level of contextual awareness, which is, do I care about that object? And then the next level behind that is maybe identify that object. So the human has entered the frame of reference. That human is someone I'm intrigued by. That human is my friend. You think about those levels, and the analogy we used with some other individuals was, think about it like how you gaze out the corner of your eye. It's low resolution, you don't exactly know, there's stuff over here, but as you turn your gaze, the intelligence level goes up. The SR family is designed explicitly to do that.
And Synaptics is developing these amazing sensors, like the human presence and all that.
Yes.
And you're enabling this. You basically, what do you call it, like making it real with the series, right?
Yes. I mean, human presence is a technology that's been around a while, right? The trick with human presence is, how do you add contextual awareness to it? How do you make it so that you can take multiple modalities and mix that with human presence to have a next level of intelligence about it? Understanding that a human is there is relatively trivial in today's technology. It's understanding that human is there and adding other things to it. That's where it gets interesting. And we've been able to do this with dedicated user presence products that we already have in market. And now with the SR family, we're bringing that technology to anybody that wants to do it. So instead of a ASSP that is very market specific for a particular market application, now people building coffee makers, doorbells, industrial robots, anything where they want that contextual awareness can now do that with an SR1XX family member.
And could have years of battery life potentially, or it could be solar powered and all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, the biggest power consumer may actually be the camera itself, right? So it depends on the application and what the customer wants to do. But that's actually the point, is that we can dramatically lower that contextual awareness to something that is a few milliamps to be able to continuously observe the world and then have the ability to have very deep knowledge of what it observed in a moment's notice, in milliseconds.
And I don't know if it's a strange question, but when you look at nature, there's like ants or little bacteria. They have intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And somehow it makes sense to compare it a little bit with the SRC. There's like smaller things, and not necessarily like a mammal or human brain in there, but you still need intelligence on the smallest things too.
Smallest things and intelligence where it doesn't need to phone a friend. So it doesn't have to be any cloud connection. The devices can be fully private. No imagery needs to leave the device. So when you think about things like GDPR, it's a small device, it has intelligence, and it doesn't need help from anybody else. It can do it all on that very small device.
I always look at the analogy of, we're used to talking to Alexa or talking to Siri.
Yeah.
But you have to prompt your thinking process, interact with voice, wait for a response. Whereas now with the technology that we've got, it knows your job. It knows you like a coffee in this particular way. It knows you like lighting in a certain way.
Yeah.
So now it's changing the dynamics of how we interact with technology by having that inbuilt machine intelligence.
It's my favorite use case for an SR100 series or SR1XX. This personal preference side of our lives, that product line does that really, really well. So my favorite one is the espresso machine. You know, we have all these mode buttons and touch screens and things on the Office espresso machine. But why do I need to tell the Office espresso machine what I want versus I can walk up to it and with a low-cost SR1XX, it just knows it's me. And maybe it just flashes the light on the espresso button or the cappuccino button based on what I did yesterday, right? There's no need for me to go through 10 different menus to set the doses and everything because there's 100 people in the office messing with the machine every day. Identifying 100 different people's personal preferences doesn't even break a sweat on a product like that.
A little story, like when Masa acquired ARM,
Yeah.
He said he wanted to get trillions of IoT devices out there. It sounds like these kinds of devices might enable this future. Can you imagine so many devices with this, right?
There's a certain irony to this whole thing, which is we've all been talking about IoT for so long, but the killer application was really missing for a long time. And when you add an intelligence factor to what you perceive as an IoT device, suddenly it starts to make sense. There are a lot of embedded customers that, using these types of products for many years that struggled with the really good why. Why am I building this product? Why am I building what I'm calling an IoT product? Now that we have this low-cost AI that hits the power, price, and performance aspects, now it makes sense to have an IoT product.
Key to that is being right-sized.
Correct.
So not necessarily needing to have a mobile phone compute module that's going to burn through all your battery power, but being able to enable the technology at the edge, whether it be in a camera or whatever it is, at that exact point to get the right performance and the right power. And really, what we're enabling is all of those devices at the edge without the necessity to go up to the cloud, enabling privacy with the SR and the SL series. Based on that, what comes next? We're running at a rapid pace here.
What comes next is there's layers of intelligence coming in the next gen parts. We can do some pretty amazing things today. The research in this market is progressing very, very, very quickly. So what we took is convolutional neural networks of a few years ago to what we can do with transformer-based technologies today. That's a big step forward, right? What's going to happen in the next couple of years, that's where it's going to get particularly entertaining. There's some good stuff coming.
And do you have a strategy for the open source upstreaming all this stuff and so easy updates, security? all this is built in?
So the way I run the team is security is paramount. It's what I call table stakes. You have to have a secure subsystem, or you shouldn't be in the connected intelligent device market. So the SR100 family we announced even has a secure subsystem in it as well. So we don't sacrifice security to provide that AI performance. It has to be there. I lost the second part of your question.
No, I was just trying to ask about upstreaming to make it easy for any project developers to just support their thing without asking you to help all the time.
Yeah, so at Synaptics we believe in open. So especially with Astra, we made a transition to provide all of this content in an open GitHub repository, an open development experience on our developer site. Upstreaming is one of those things that we strive for, but it takes time. The community takes acceptance of new updates and things at the speed the community takes it at. And the AI market is moving extremely fast right now. So the speed at which we can upstream is sometimes outside of our control. What the desire is to contribute that content upstream as much as possible.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.